Next up, though, is my very special guest, and he is Scotland's top comedian. He really is fantastic. So his name is Eddie Devine, and by the way, this time tomorrow night, he is going to be entertaining 200 Scots in New York. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Eddie Devine.
Thank you, Janey. Thank you. Did Janey say I'd be entertaining 200 Scots in New York? I told her near York. And by the way, what do you get if you play a country and western record backwards? You get your horse back, you get your wife back, you get your dog back. I'm sorry I'm late. I was driving up today from Glasgow. On the motorway, there was a woman driving in front of me. She was swerving all over the road. I could not get past. Lady drivers, great drivers. She was swerving all over the road. I could not get past. And I drew level with her. She wound her window down. She started shouting, "Pig, big fat pig, pig, big fat pig, big fat pig." I says, "Lady, you're off your head." Well, I overtook her and I hit this big pig. Oh, and by the way, I'm just back from the cruise ships. I was on the Oriana. I was on the Oceana. I was on the Titanic twice. Those cruise ships are fabulous, ladies and gentlemen, absolutely fabulous. The food is beautiful. You go on as a passenger, you come off as cargo. The room, they gave me a dungeon. I was 20 feet below the waterline. 20 feet below the waterline. They gave me a dungeon. And all they gave me in that dungeon was a bed and a chair. And I complained to the captain. He said, "That's all you get, a bed and a chair." Well, I went away and get big 6-inch nails. And I hung my clothes up like my mummy told me. And up to the captain an hour later, I says, "Captain, the boat's not moving." He said, "I know, somebody's nailed us onto the jetty." I was on one of the senior citizens cruises. I was on the senior citizens cruise, all for senior citizens. The midnight snacks were at 8 o'clock. Fantastic. And we had a wedding on the ship. We had a Scottish wedding on the ship. We all wore our kilts. It was absolutely fabulous. And we were up in the Crow's Nest Lounge celebrating, and this beautiful American lady approached me. She said, "Excuse me, Scotty, I love your kilt." I said, "Oh yeah, we've had a wedding. One of our friends got married on the ship." "Oh," she says, "Yeah. What's the tartan?" I said, "She was in a white dress." And I said to this beautiful American lady, "May I take you back to your stateroom? They're not cabins, staterooms." She says, "I trust you, Scotty. I'm on the veranda deck." Well, I took her down in the elevator to the veranda deck. The veranda deck is 3/4 of a mile long. I was walking along the veranda deck, 2 o'clock in the morning. The moon was shining. The sea was like a sheet of glass. And this beautiful American lady by my side, she pushed me up against the wall. She said, "Scotty, you're passionate." I says, "No, darling, I just want to get you back to your stateroom." After 100 meters, wallop, I'm up against the other wall. She's all over me. She said, "Scotty, you're passionate." I says, "No, darling, I just want to get you back to your stateroom." She said, "That's what I'm trying to tell you, you're passionate." But it's wonderful to be here, friends. It's absolutely beautiful to be here. I've got a big family. I come from a big family. We had 8 in the family, 8. And then my mother stitched up the front of my dad's pajamas because of stitch and tie. Yes, you better believe it. Yeah, we had 8 in the family. My great-great-great-grandfather, he was killed at the Battle of Bannockburn. He wasn't fighting, he was a face painter. And my great-great-grandfather, he was psychic. He knew the exact day he was going to die. The judge told him a week before they hung him. And my father was in the last war. My father fought and he fought and he fought and he still had to go. My father was one of the very first soldiers off the boats at the beaches in Normandy. He got off at Southampton. My father was injured during the war and he came back to Bonnie, Scotland. He became a miner. He was down the mines every morning during the last war, down 2 miles, onto a mine shaft, down 2 miles, onto a mine shaft, down 2 miles, onto a mine shaft. He said to his boss, no wonder we're fighting with Germany, we're stealing their coal. And every day at lunchtime, my father would sit with his pieces, his sandwiches for lunch. My mother, God rest her, had made up his sandwiches. And who was sitting opposite my dad? A big American. Well, you know what like the Americans are. They've got a beauty just now, Mr. Trumpet. His security forces have been told if someone fires a gun at them, they've not to shout, dive for cover. They have to shout, Donald Duck. Yes, every morning my father would sit there at lunchtime with his pieces, and the American would say, excuse me, Jock, what have you got in your pieces today? My dad says, I've got Spam. What have you got in yours? He said, I've got the big bird. My dad said, what's the big bird? He said, I've got chicken. Well, they were down the mine shaft the next day, lunchtime. The big American says, Jock, what have you got in your pieces today? My dad said, Spam. What have you got in yours? He said, I've got the big bird. My dad said, you got chicken? He says, no, I've got turkey. They were down the mine shaft the next day. He said, Jock, what have you got in your pieces today? My dad says, I've got the big bird. The American says, you got chicken? He says, no. He said, you got turkey? He says, no. He says, what have you got? He said, I've got stork. But friends, it was my wife's birthday last week. I said to her, ecstasy? She said, yes, useless. I said, what would you like for your birthday? Oh, she says, just surprise me. I did. I phoned her from Tenerife. No, ladies, I bought her a beautiful gift. I bought her a microwave bed. She gets an 8-hour sleep in 3 minutes. No, we went sexy this year for her birthday. I bought her a water bed. They are fantastic. She calls my half the Dead Sea. I call her half Alaska. We were lying in bed the other evening. I was reading a book. She said, useless. I said, yes, ecstasy. She said, what's the book you're reading? I said, I'm reading a book about reincarnation. Do you know anything about reincarnation? She says, I'm not that stupid. That's the cream you pour on top of the strawberries. She said, there's someone at the front door, go and see who it is. Well, I went downstairs and opened the front door. There was 2 gentlemen standing at the front door. One had a Bible, the other one had a brown loaf. I said, who are you? They said, we're Jehovah's Witnesses. Yes, friends, here's a brand new joke. This one's coming out 4 weeks tomorrow. Guy walks into a bar with a piece of tar macadam under his arm. He said to the barman, 2 pints of beer, please. The barman says, 2 pints of beer? He says, yeah, one for me, one for the road. This other guy walks in and he put a piece of thread on top of the bar. A piece of thread. He said to the bartender, if I can make that piece of thread stand up, would you give me a glass of whiskey? The bartender says, if you can make that piece of thread stand up, I'll give you a bottle of whiskey. Well, the fellow went into his pocket and pulled out a penny whistle. The piece of thread stood as straight as a die. Bottle of whiskey. He turned to walk out. The bartender said, excuse me, sir, I've got something behind the bar that's not stood for 20 years. If you can make it stand up, I'll give you a crate of whiskey. He said, okay, let's see. Well, the bartender went behind the bar and he brought up this huge, thick piece of rope, placed it on the bar. The guy got the penny whistle back out. Piece of rope stood as straight as a die. Crate of whiskey. He was walking out the door. There was a lady sitting there from Dundee. She said, excuse me, son, could I buy that penny whistle from you? For £100? He says, yes, madam, it's yours. She went straight home. Her husband was in bed. She's outside the bedroom door with a penny whistle. She opened the bedroom door 5 minutes later. The sheets were up like a tent. She ran in and she pulled the sheets back. His pajama cord was standing straight up and down.
Let's hear it for Eddie Devine! Eddie Devine. Thank you.